Hey guys, welcome back to Quokkas on Tour. I'm Craig and I'm doing this one as a solo today. Emma's not here with me because we're going to talk a little bit about a trip which I've been wanting to do for a long time. Something which has been on the horizon since about the mid-1990s when these island group became opened up for from the government so that we could actually visit them. I'm talking about the Montebello Islands. Montebello Islands is a small island group made up of about 174 small islands, about 130 kilometres off the West Australian coast. The islands themselves, the closest towns to them are the Pilbara towns of Dampier, Onslow and Exmouth, which is where we travelled to catch our transport out to the Montebello Islands. Now the Montebello Islands are an uninhabited island group. These days there's a little bit of oil and gas production around there from some of the oil and gas giants, quite a lot of platforms in the area. But they're most famous for being back in the 1950s, between 1952 and 1956. The British did a series or 3 nuclear tests on the islands, being that they were a perfect observation site for them to start their nuclear testing and essentially get 3 nuclear bombs tested, one which was inside a boat and the other 2 were from a tower. The islands themselves, because of this nuclear activity, had been closed off until the mid-1990s when the federal government handed them back to Western Australia, and we then were able to actually visit them. These days it's pretty much a little bit of a paradise for people who like things in the water, particularly nature, as in if you like to be diving on coral reefs, if you like to be fishing, if you like to be snorkeling, if you like seeing where turtles are breeding and so on. It's a fantastic area to go to. You have to travel by boat. You can travel from either of any of the 3 towns that we mentioned: Dampier, Onslow, Exmouth. So we travelled from Exmouth. Exmouth itself is close on a 3-day trip. Well, realistically, you can do it in 2, but from my hometown, it's essentially about a 14 to 15 hour drive. So it's a long distance. Myself, my brother and my cousin went along for a bit of a boys trip. And once we got to Exmouth, we hopped on board the charter, which was from the guys at the Montebello Island Safaris, who have been operating for quite some time. We hopped on board their 57-foot Kylin, which was a great boat, which was essentially the mothership for the time which we were at the islands. The Kylin was great. We did a lot of fishing from the Kylin. Obviously it was our transport to and from the islands, but it does take around 10 hours, somewhere between 8 and 10 hours depending on the weather. We didn't get fantastic weather. The wind was up, a little bit of rain when we left. I think I got some cool footage of some rainbow and some rain in the distance, but some nice flat water as we're heading out of Exmouth. And then just as we passed the Miriam Islands, things started to become a little bit more open sea and the wind really kicked in. So a bit of a rough trip over, but then the big advantage in going with the Montebello Island Safaris is they have a houseboat which sleeps up to 16 people, and that's moored up in a nice sheltered bay so that you can get a good night's sleep, and the ability to be able to get off the main boat after your full day of fishing and freshwater shower, a really good shower and toilet facilities, and you've got full kitchen facilities which are there on the boat as well. The rooms are, I guess, relatively spacious for a small boat. So you've got anything from 2 people bunking in a room, and being a tall person, the bed itself was more than substantial for what we needed. The biggest rooms that they have are 4 people, so you're generally in either a 2 or a 4 cabin. And then they have a really big area for the kitchen, commercial kitchen setup, which is great, so that they can actually do some really good cooking. The cooking area, the meals that we were served up each night as we were essentially coming back into the houseboat. On first night we had a steak dinner. The second night we had some of the fish that we caught. There was fish and chips and salad, which was cooked up for us. We had some roast chicken that was cooked up, which was really nice. The guys made some spaghetti bolognese, made a curry, and each morning we're having cooked breakfast, which was there for us before we went out and we hit the boat and went out on the water. Each day the guys were putting all of the cold cuts there for us, cold meats or cold chicken, which was there for us to be able to make sandwiches, wraps, which was really good and nice and healthy. And one of the best parts about it is when you come back from a day being on the water, they have these fantastic platters which are served up for you whilst you're having your sundowner, sitting there on the back deck of the full Monty in this almost like island paradise. It's untouched, it's so peaceful, there's no light pollution, and just sitting there and talking about the day and just taking it all in before you have your shower and settle in for the night. So really good facilities. There at the houseboat as well. The houseboat has 3 or 4 smaller boats that can be taken around for island hopping, which makes your life a little bit easier, so that you can maybe get to shore. You can go and explore some of the ruins which are there on the islands. The islands are quite flat, but the hills are quite accessible. You can climb up to the viewing platform. We went to where the headquarters, the viewing area was for the nuclear test which they did. So we could have a look and see close on across all of the islands, and some really good viewing. And you can see anything from like where the tides come in, where things were moored up when they had the boats coming in for the Brits and the Aussies setting up back in the 50s. The boat's there for you to go onto shore. The boats are there, the dinghies and the smaller boats are there so that you can get around to some of the smaller bays where the larger 57-foot Kylin can't get into, especially on some of the low tides. There's a lot of these little lagoons that you can get into where you can be snorkeling, swimming, fishing, casting, trolling. It's really good. There's a lot to do and a lot of these cool places to check out. some nice ledges where you can see things the likes of crayfish and turtles. I've never seen so many turtles before, so that was really cool. So some of the things that we obviously did is a lot of fishing. We went there on a fishing trip. Some of the fish that we caught were things the likes of spangled emperor and red emperor and mangrove jack, Spanish mackerel. There was red-throat emperor. There was Rankin cod, cobia, and these are just to name a few. There's others which I haven't necessarily remembered, but you'll see some of the photos and you guys can have a look and see what it was that we actually caught.
There's a lot of red. They call that plastic fish. That's a special one. Nice. There is a lot of red in there. Nice work. Just in there as well.
Back each night, just being able to sit back in that comfort and then take in some of the wildlife which you see over night time that's kind of come out to play. Anything from dolphins just circling the boat. We had an osprey there one night which decided to make its home upstairs on the full Monty. We saw giant sea snakes which were not only long but like really fat, solid through the body. Giant Queensland groper. I think I got some footage of the Queensland groper actually coming up and eating some stuff on the surface. This thing was huge. It was great to see. Sharks that were coming, giant hammerhead sharks, lemon sharks, bull sharks, a lot of these things. Now the fishing itself, the fishing where we went out deep sea for 3 of the days that we were there, we were mostly fishing in 80 metres of water. The charter company, Montebello Islands Safaris, do have their own equipment, which you can use. They have modern Shimano overhead reels using 80-pound braid. They're using 100-pound leader and nice big 8/0 circle hooks. So really good for the deep fishing that we're doing, the bottom bouncing as it's called, with the prize species on the bottom. And the guys will rig anything up for you that you need. And of course you can rig your own, you can take your own, but they do have a lot of good stuff for the bottom bouncing, or even the trolling for the likes of Spanish mackerel and sailfish and so on. So some good facilities and some good equipment that's supplied by the operators. So the guys did a good job. We were really fortunate with the crew that we had, that they were really accommodating and helped us with kind of any requests that we had, even though we had some quite ordinary weather, a lot of wind at the time. So we had a fantastic time, and going back to the full Monty each night was a real treat for us. Would I go again? Yes, I would, without a doubt. Would I change anything? Well, with any trip, you're going to learn things. There's some things that you probably will change. As far as some advice for you, it's going to depend on what it is that you like to do. If you want to take your own equipment with you, it's probably a good idea for you to drive from Perth. so that you've got your own fishing equipment. That way you can also bring your own freezer or fridge to be able to put your catch in, because we brought away quite a bit of fish with us. And you can pack it into a foam box and put it onto a plane. The flights are quite accessible from Exmouth, so they're just there in town, and they do have a bus which will pick you up and take you to the airport. Would I catch the plane? Would I drive? I'm a little bit torn on that one there. Guys, if you're going to explore the Montebellos, check out the Montebello Island safaris, or some of the other operators which are really good as well. Obviously, I recommend the one which we went on, and do a little bit of research before you go, and make sure you take the equipment that's going to work for you. And you're not going to need too much, because a lot of the stuff's going to be supplied for you. I really appreciate you watching. If you like what you're seeing, once again, do the like and subscribe. Hit that on your YouTube browser so that you can get all of the updates when we post a new video. The next time we will have Emma back again for some other of our adventures, and we'll look forward to seeing you then.